Welcome to the show. We're here with Nathan Deluca, who's a well-known cosplayer from the city of Halifax. Welcome, Nathan.
Hello. It's pleased to meet you, Jeff.
Thanks. So let's start off. Why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
My name's Nathan. I'm actually like 14 cats inside a people suit. Not actually like well-known or anything, so that's a bit of a overstatement. But all right.
After this video, you'll blow up.
Yes, completely. You know, I'll become the next Jessica Negri. Thank you. But I make things, and those things are generally costumes because I'm a giant dork.
Yeah.
That's essentially as far as it goes.
What got you into it? Like, what was the first thing you ever made?
Funny story. So what got me into it initially was I was high as hell off painkillers after a wisdom teeth removal. So I was sitting in bed bleeding out my face 2 days afterwards, just on every prescribed medication known to man that is legal to give for wisdom teeth removal. And I saw someone in a shepherd costume from Mass Effect. And I decided in my drunken stupor, I can do that. Well, it was more like, oh, I can do that, but I decided to do it. And over the next week, with a lot of foam and a lot of medication and a lot of glue, I made something that resembled a Caden costume from Mass Effect. And when I wasn't completely medicated, I looked at it again and it was the worst thing in the world. It was entirely made of duct tape and just terrible. Took probably longer to fix it than it did to make it.
Fair enough, fair enough. Yeah. You're probably just a tougher critic, though. You're always critical of your own work.
This was even then. It was like entirely, like you turned it around, the entire inside was lined with duct tape for absolutely no reason. I don't even remember doing it. But other than that, that was the start of an addiction. I went to Hal-Con that year and I loved it, and been going to cons ever since.
Yeah, yeah. So you're hosting a panel actually at this year's Hal-Con.
Yes, foam, beginning and intermediate, just named something to do with foam. I will be working with foam, yes.
Right on. So are you gonna be like providing like that basic how-tos or?
Yeah, pretty much. Basic how-tos, like how to cut, how to pattern, everything I can fit into 45 minutes, because, yeah, I don't really have anything more to say than that. Well, I do, just nothing appropriate for a panel.
Fair enough. So you've been attending Hal-Con for a little while now.
I think this will be my third year.
Your third year? So, like, in your opinion, what has Hal-Con been like for the city? Like, what type of impact do you think?
I think it's really good to help bring nerd into the mainstream, if that makes any sense. Absolutely. It's nice to see, well, so-called normal people, or, well, everyone, get into hobbies that everyone thought was reserved for people like the comic book guy from The Simpsons. Right. And it's refreshing, honestly. Yeah. But I think it's just good bringing that kind of culture to light.
So, just you yourself, what do you enjoy most about cosplay?
Honestly, the friends I make. Yeah. Like, you go to a convention in Montreal, Toronto, Australia, wherever, and you meet people with similar interests, and you can just hang out and geek out over the things you love. But that's the best part of it, 100%.
Excellent. And what are some of your favorite characters to cosplay as?
I have no idea. Everyone. Like, everything from this suit to that armor, just... I can't even choose among the people that I've costumed as to anyone I like remotely more than others. Right
on. Is there anything you're going to be cosplaying as that you can tell us about, like in the near future?
Probably that suit. It's Gabriel from Last Man Standing. It's an art book by Dan Levisi that no one seems to have heard of, and it makes me kind of sad. Everyone should read it. It's really good.
Yeah, tell us about it. What's it about?
It's really... Sorry, now I gotta think of the plot of a 280-page art book. There was a badass. He went to jail for a long time. He got out of jail. Yeah. Dystopian America. Guns. Things. Yes. Okay. This is Gabriel from Last Man Standing, which is the cover of this, just one of his variants, which is a bunch of superhero logos superimposed with a photo of cats. That is essentially as far as it goes. It was just a promotional picture that they had of him, and I decided it was hilarious. I'd do that for Halloween. But helmet's not quite done. The rest of this is coming along. It's all made of foam. Just, it's a really light costume, like kind of built up over some shoulder pads, and that's the only part that isn't scratch made. and then some of the stuff in the belt, but I like it. All these logos are screen printed onto fabric and then cut out. And the cats, I don't have cats. But, wish I had cats. I should get some cats.
How does this start? What did you start with this?
I started actually just with the chest plate, and I work off everything here. So I have this basic shape. Like I figure out exactly how big armpit to armpit is, like in a two-dimensional space. Put that out. Exactly where it should go on my body, and have my top constraints, and then I build my shape inside that. Then I just hand pattern based on the art, exactly what the ab pieces or everything else would look like. So I just drew this directly onto foam, made sure it was symmetrical by taking a piece of paper, tracing it, and then folding it over, and doing the same thing until it went all the way down. This is just two pieces of foam wrapped in pleather. And like I went and bought some nylon, made a belt with a 2-inch buckle. Holsters are made from Warbler, and these can fit actual 1911 pistols. And that's essentially it. I just build the base, the shoulder pieces, and I work off around that until an entire chassis is obtained.
Do you have like an accounted knit and stitch or Fabricville or whatever it is?
I do have a Canadian Tire points card. I've spent probably thousands of dollars at Canadian Tire, and I should really redeem those points at some point, but you know.
What is in your arsenal that is you can't live without, that you use all the time?
Probably like 3 things. I'd probably say like a box cutter blade, a knife sharpener, or otherwise you'll be replacing your blades like every half hour. If you don't sharpen or replace your blades, your cuts will get ragged, and then you have to sand them all down, and that takes a long time, and it'll kill you because it's carcinogenic as hell. But other than that, probably a high heat glue gun. Alternatively, you can use like barge or another kind of contact cement, and foam. Obviously, a lot of foam. Like, 1 second. There's 2 main cut-ins I use, and that would be floor mats from Walmart or Canadian Tire. There's a textured side and a non-textured side. It's about 1/2 inch thick. Then you can get big rolls of this stuff, which is about 1/4 inch thick, and you can use that for smaller pieces. Like, example, this top part was made with the abs. This part was made with the 1/4 inch. And if you heat it up and bend it, it will keep that shape if you hold it there for a little while. You have to heat it. I use a heat gun. Some people use the top of a stove. I think you can use a hairdryer, but I imagine that would take forever. Heat it, hold it in place, keep it there for a little while, then let it go. And that's how I do 99% of all my work. Everything is sealed with a layer of Roscoe's Flex Bond, just one really thin layer put on with a house paintbrush, because that's how I can get the smallest, I can do it the fastest with the smallest possible brush strokes that way. And then it's painted with Krylon paint and then hand painted for detail.
Cool.
Are there any, like, you're hand painting this, are there any certain brushes that you're using? Is this regular?
I use what I have on hand. I use what's in the closest drawer and kind of make do, because I'm fundamentally lazy when it comes to my own builds. But not really, no. Like, I grab what looks right for the job, but I don't have any particular brand that I go by. Yeah, like for paints, I generally use acrylics for the overbrushing, and for details, I use like Warhammer or Tamiya paints. For example, all these blood splatters are Warhammer Blood for the Blood God paints, which it just works amazing. But unfortunately, that's not in the budget for me or most people, so you have to use it sparingly.
Is there anyone in the cosplay community that you particularly follow or keep an eye on?
A lot of people. I couldn't even name them all.
Yeah,
like,
just globally, or?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people. Yeah, most of which probably in the States, Australia, out west, etc.
So it's pretty
big. It's really expensive, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Are there different types of cosplayers, different types or styles, or?
Yeah,
I'd say there's distinct cliques that you find, like movie cosplayers, the older prop guys, and well, the younger prop guys. The anime people, the video game people. Sometimes they coalesce, most of the time not so much, but I try and mix it up. A lot of people do.
Right on. Is there a genre that you prefer to dress up as?
This is going to sound weird, but something that like looks like it belongs in the real world. I've had a hard time doing anime, not because I don't like it, I do. It's just I find it really hard to bring those color palettes and those textures to life. And make it make sense. Not that other people can't do it, I can't as personally me.
That's fair. And you mentioned off camera that you have a bit of a military background. Does that play?
3 years, and no, not really. It was a job.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. How far in advance do you have to start planning your cosplays?
A few hours.
Really, a few hours? That's it?
Pretty much. Like at this point, it's boiled down to most of the time I spend is spent working on commissions or like doing prints or sending things out or etc. So I devote a few hours to making a costume like every day or 2 days or 3 days. But lately, not so much time. But I started learning how to pattern directly onto foam, so it's basically, oh, I have an idea, and then I just do it. I don't make the patterns out, I don't really plan it. A few days later, I'm left with something like that. I think that's 3 or 4 days of working.
That's fantastic. So you mentioned that it's a broad community, it's a global community. Where has this passion afforded you to travel to?
Last few places I've been to were just out west. I haven't been to an American con yet, which is kind of upsetting, but got a few on my list for next year. But the furthest I've been has been Australia for Sydney Supernova, and it was just an amazing time. Everyone in Australia is just fantastic. The cosplay community there is really inspiring.
That's excellent. Good
yeah, and next up will be Paris for Paris Comics Expo, which is my first like international con invite by the con itself. Yeah.
That's great. So this might be a bit of a divisive question, but is there anything about cosplaying that you don't like?
There's a lot of infighting and there's a lot of drama, like a lot of pettiness that I just don't understand. It's the community can attract, and I really hate to say this, a certain personality archetype, in which case people who don't like other people's, I don't want to say success or talent, it's moreover they just don't like certain other people for simply what they stand for. Not necessarily me, I just see a lot of bullying and a lot of putting people down. For one extreme instance would be someone whose wig turned out nicely being destroyed by someone else while in their hotel room. And there's a lot of talking behind people's backs, posting in like 4chan and other sites. And
4chan, very reputable.
Yeah, but it's been really bad for some people I know, so I try and avoid that as much as I can. Yeah.
Have you had to ever suffer in an uncomfortable costume for the sake of the art?
Every time.
Yeah?
Yeah, just, well, I'd say this thing is probably the most uncomfortable I have, and it's moreover because you can't hold anything. You've got 10 or 15 pounds in each arm of just stuff, so, yeah, all the time.
So tell me, how much of the character's persona do you tend to take on when you're...
When I'm cosplaying? Generally, not really. I mean, if I'm doing a stage presentation, it's hard to take the personification of Batman or a psychotic murderer or someone like that and walk around a convention with it. But I mean, you can act it out.
So you don't do the Batman, Christian Bale?
I mean, I can, but you know, I'm Batman. But some people can, and I respect them a lot for it. I just can't keep up a character. I wish.
And do you prefer to do like commissioned work or conventions? Is there a preference that you have?
Commissioned work as in making things for other people?
Yeah, or even photo shoots?
It depends. I go where my friends are, right? So if it's a convention, I'll go there. If my friends are doing a shoot, I'll go there. If I'm setting up something, I'll invite my friends along. So it really depends on the people and exactly what's happening. It's kind of apples and oranges. I can't really say which I prefer between the two, but if there's something I'm going to be planning long in advance for, either a photo shoot or a convention, one of the two. Yeah.
Is there a difference in the prep work from a convention to a photo shoot?
Well, in a convention, you have to worry about like, the hotel you're staying, how you're going to store everything, how you pack it. A photo shoot is just, okay, guys, we're going to go shoot in this state. Let's have everything ready by then. And you arrange transport. You make sure all the lighting and extras and everything is set up. You have, well, all your gear good to go. And that's pretty much it. So there's a lot less prep work when it goes to a photo shoot than a convention. But, well, I won't say less. It's different. It's very different, yeah.
Any tips you might have for the beginner cosplayer?
Take your time, pattern, read tutorials. It depends what kind of beginner cosplayer you are. If you want to make things, definitely look and see as many tutorials as you can. Punished Props makes some really good ones, so does Camway. If you're any cosplayer who isn't making things, or even if you are, just your #1 rule is have fun. Don't let what other people say bother you.
Absolutely. We all got to get along, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Are there any stories that you can tell us from your experience as a cosplayer that's PG-13?
The other day, actually, at the bus terminal when I was going to go pick up house paints, funny enough, someone walked up to me. He was a very nice guy, actually, and he said I was an inspiration. I was the reason he got into cosplay. He just recognized me at Mumford Terminal, and it was one of the sweetest, like, nicest things anyone said to me, and it made my day completely after that.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it was, he showed me pictures of the costume he's working on. He's going to a Vegas convention for it. He was just a really nice guy, and it was just really positive to see that, to have that experience.
Great.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
it's one of the first times it's ever happened to me, at least like in Halifax.
No, it's great. That's great. And where can people go to learn more about you or to follow you?
My Facebook page, which is just Nathan Deluca. That is pretty much it. My name, Nathan Deluca.
All right.
And if anyone has any questions on building, making foam props, making armor, anything, I would be more than happy to help out if you message me.
Well, thanks, Nathan, for giving us your time. We really appreciate it.
No worries, and thank you for the opportunity.
Excellent. Follow Nathan on Facebook, follow us on Facebook, support our channel, and we'll talk to you later.